Just put some baby butt wipes in your bag. Science! I suck at crankbait fishing.
It's time for some bass smashing action.
Now I'm going to go ahead and put these guys back. They just go in the back of the backpack like I was saying. Now what I have here is just 3 random bags of plastics I was going to try out the other day. When you set your bag up like I have it, you end up with extra space, and you can throw stuff like this at the last minute into the bag, you know, for any given situation. But I'm going to cover kind of the mainstays in the bag. And when I say this, you know, this is my perfect spring bag, I pack it in a way in the spring where I have leftover space. And the reason is because when I fish in Illinois, it's primarily bass and some muskie. We take a trip up north every year at some point, and my brother and my wife and I try to go camping, and we fish different species when we go on those trips. So I need space in these containers because it's a lot easier. There's bass in those lakes too. It's easier to add baits to this than to go and redo the whole bag. So I'll actually throw a picture up. A couple nights ago when I cleaned this out, this thing was packed with baits, and so was this. These guys pretty much remain the same. But this is just what I start with in the spring. I mentioned these 2 Plano containers. It's very simple. This guy has gulp plastics in it. They have this goop in there. They're wet. These are aftermarket Plano containers. These are much more hardy, I guess, than the bags that these things come in a lot. They're well worth the $5. This is dry plastics with some power bait goop kind of squirted in there. Now I'm going to do another video on why you don't want to put your dry plastics like Yum, things like that, in with your gulp. I did that, and the result is this, and this is going to be in another video. We're going to talk about what happens when you put regular different plastics in with gulp. It has some interesting effects. I'm not going to say that they're bad effects, but they're freaking weird. That's, you know, science. So anyway, 2 Plano containers, wet baits, dry baits, right? Moving on. Terminal tackle. It's a little Plano guy. Now I'm doing this all upside down, so hopefully you can understand what I'm doing here. I have this divided in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 primary compartments. Up here is room for all of my larger hooks. You know, oh hey. Ladybug. Bye. This will fill up with some jigs, but I actually put the jigs in the other larger container, and I'll show you why in a second. The skirts take up a lot of space. Up here I have some extra trebles. I also have some trebles with some springs in case I decide to do a little carp or cat fishing. I'm really big on multi-species fishing simultaneously if you can do it. We're going to talk about that in another video too. Down here we have all of our offset hooks. Worm hooks. We got some big ol' honkin' guys. We got some slow death hooks, you know. Anything that you could use for a tube or a worm, any type of plastic rig, you're going to find down here. This right here, these are your more straightforward jigs. Like up here, I should have specified. These are pivoting jig heads. This is a Punisher, I believe, but this swivels, takes up a lot more space. Down here, these are standard like jig worm jig heads, and then shaky worm heads, and there's a couple good sized one in here, but these are primarily just right now they're just shaky worm jig heads because, as I mentioned, we're going to be fishing bass in early season in Illinois. As the season goes on and we fish walleye and things like that, we'll put weedless jigs in here, we'll put some up here, and this will kind of expand. These are all drop shot, and we got weedless drop shot. There's a few circle hooks, little circle hooks down in here. This is actually a weighted wacky worm hook. So any type of smaller specialty hook will go in here. On my right, we have all of our just simple worm hooks for pan fishing. And then this bottom row is additional terminal tackle. Carolina rigs, Texas rigs, you know, parasite, clip, bullet weights, stuff like that, they all go in here. Over here we have drop shot weights, some additional sinkers. And then over here we have your standard split shot sinkers, beads, glass beads. These little guys This guy is for rigging up slip bobbers real quick. So the long and short of it is this guy holds terminal tackle. I'm going to leave those separate so I see them later. Hey guys, real quick, I just wanted to mention, if you haven't done so yet, please head over to clearwatersky.com and sign up for an account. It's free. If you're a guide and you want to hawk your wares, it's only $5 a month. That money helps us keep the site live. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Now, this final container holds some additional tools. This big compartment over here is awesome because all this stuff was previously just floating around my bag. So I have a fish scale, some big ol' honking clips that can get through braid. The little clippers got destroyed by the braid when I was using those. That's these guys. I still have them for mono and fluorocarbon. The top part, the teeth, or whatever the heck you call these things, got all chewed up. Super glue for putting plastics on swim bait, jig heads, things like that. A knife, because you always need a knife. This is a cool little tool. This puts a little rubber guy if you're doing a wacky worm rig. And this is just a disgorger type tool. Quick access for getting a hook out if I don't want to get the pliers out. Crankbaits up top. Then we have jigs. I threw a frog in here just for the heck of it. Typically I won't use this until later in the summer. And then we have swim baits. We have anything that's like a blade bait or a rattle bait down here. And then this is just kind of a grab bag. I have some inline spinners and some you know, beetle spin type things for panfish. So up here in the crankbaits, shallow running crank, same deal, minnow profile, suspending bait, minnow profile again. That's it for now. And I'll be the first to admit I suck at crankbait fishing. I'm terrible at it. I know there's a technique to it now. I never used to think there was. I thought you just tied one on, you threw it out, reeled it in, you know, here come the fishies. You know, no, that's not how you gotta deflect it off crap and, you know, run it over the top of stuff and pause it and let it rise up. And, you know, in the spring you gotta pause it so that the fish will come up and smack it. I'm terrible. So hopefully I can spend some time with that this summer. So this guy is swim jigs. This is a slow fall swim jig. It's called a zero gravity jig. We got some other guys with trailers on them here. You know, jigs for swimming and pitching. Then we got swim baits. This is a little crappie swim bait. I have not tried yet. We're going to try it this summer because a lot of the forage around here is crappie. You know, minnow profile swim bait, little fluke. This is a good go-to bass bait. Love this bait. Have had a lot of success, especially in shallow cover where you can kind of flip this in and flop it around on top of, you know, the gunk or the pads. You could interchange this with the tube easily, but I love this. I've caught a lot of nice bass on just a simple fluke, you know, zoom fluke. I think it's like $1.50 for a package of 1,000 or something. It's ridiculous. Take notes, kids. This is important stuff. Rattle baits, several different sizes. Blade bait, and then these are just inline spinners. The whole rod video that I did was because I was fishing one of these guys, caught it on a stump, jerked the rod, and broke the thing off. Ridiculous, but one of these little dudes. Those will catch smallies. And that's pretty much it. So, this all goes back in the bag. I'd love to hear about what you guys got going on, and any comments and feedback, always welcome. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys. Quick reminder, if you haven't done so yet, please head over to clearwatersky.com and sign up. Help us keep that site live. Thank you guys. We'll see you in the next video.
You can say, bass smashing action. Bass smashing action. It's a giant. I actually did see a 3-pounder over here swimming around.
Did you?
Yeah, so they've moved. They're actually back over where we've seen them in the past. 5 cameras going at once here.
Good food?